Greetings everyone, and welcome to our live review of Avowed, Obsidian's brand new action RPG for PC and Xbox Series consoles. We're big fans of Obsidian here at SIFTD, at least traditionally we are. We've pretty much liked every game it's ever made, and we're big fans, and we know a lot about them, and the person sitting across me right now probably knows a lot more than I do, and that is Matt Keil. How you feeling, Matt, about Obsidian's RPGs?
Oh, they're good.
Yeah.
They're good.
Have you played one that you haven't liked ever?
Yes. I did not like, I mean, I don't know, some people don't count as an RPG, but I do. I did not like Alpha Protocol very much.
That is one of those games that people say, oh, it's better than people remember. It's really not.
No, it's like the thing about Alpha Protocol is it's very impressive what they did with the choice system and how like every choice you make does actually have consequences, and the way it reincorporates all the decision making. Like the end of that game can be completely different compared to another playthrough. If you have, I mean, the divergence is amazing.
Avowed, it looks like an open world action RPG when you watch it, but it's really not.
Yeah, although it kind of
is still. Yeah.
I mean, the areas are huge.
Yeah, they really are.
You know, it's broken. It's large areas broken up with a world map where you go to.
There's loading.
It's huge. It's you know, you're not going to notice. It's not an open world until you get to like you have to move on to a new area basically. Yeah. So Obsidian's strength has always been writing and character work and kind of putting you in these situations where you like I don't want to pick any of these things because none of them are really all that great. It's like, yes, but that's the situation, so fucking do something. The tone and the decision making and the interaction with the worlds and the way people behave is all right in line with how they've been in the other games. It's just from a different perspective, a totally different gameplay. So I think it's a really cool, like you could have called it Pillars of Eternity 3, but I understand why you didn't, because those are PC only games that nobody really, you know, they sold like a couple million, but it's not like it's not like Fallout. It's not like a staple of the industry.
Yep, and with all that in mind, let's get on with our live review. Okay, we're gonna start with the plot of the game. You are an envoy of the Emperor, who is
of the Adirian Empire, I think it's what's called.
Yeah, and you're basically sent to investigate a plague that is spreading across the land.
The Living Lands.
The Living Lands,
which is it's an island continent in the northwest of this world, like the northwest of the map of this world, and it is a very weird place, and it's kind of sort of tropical in places, and it's got fungus everywhere.
Which is from the plague.
From the plague. Well, yeah. The plague. They always had that.
The Dream Scourge.
But the Dream Scourge plague is newly invading the animal life, basically.
It's infecting everything.
It's similar to the cordyceps fungus in The Last of Us.
It really is. Except
it makes you hallucinate and become crazy before you turn.
Yeah.
And it infects your dreams before it infects your body, essentially. So the land you're in, the Living Lands have always been sort of a wild, unfriendly. It's almost like the way the characters in Avatar talk about Pandora. It's like, this place is designed to kill us, but we're here anyway because of reasons, kind of thing. You know?
Well, you're sent there to investigate the plague. You get there, and everybody like hates you because you're the man, basically.
Yeah, you're working for you're kind of like there's a lot of colonialism here. Like the Adirian Empire is a colonial power that is overseas, and like they were a problem in the other games because they took place on a separate continent, like further to the southeast. But they also were like, the Adirians are not from that continent. They were also kind of occupying places there, and like nobody likes it. It's like the Romans mixed with the Spanish Armada mixed with America. You know, it's just like these guys are just everywhere. They think they need to impose order, and nobody wants them there to impose order, and it's just a problem. And then on top of that, you are what's known as a godlike, which is
you're blessed by God.
Yeah, there are people in this world that have been touched by a god, and they exhibit physical characteristics of that god on them that make them very obviously godlikes, and they are kind of discriminated against and feared to some degree because they are usually a problem. Your godlike features are kind of fungal in nature.
I actually turned mine off, but they still see them.
Yeah, they still see them no matter what.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the kind of the growths that are related to the Dream Scourge, and the trick is, usually with godlikes, everybody can see from what the physical characteristics are what god touched that person.
Yeah.
No one knows.
And you don't know even.
And you don't know. There's a voice in your head that is probably that god.
Yeah.
But you don't know who it is, and no one seems to know why, and it seems like it's probably connected to this plague, but there's
that's the mystery.
That's
really.
the mystery of the game is most like who your god is. And are they related to the living lands? Are they related to this Dream Scourge? And what
is the voice in your head? Because the voice in the head becomes a big character in this. So everybody hates you. You walk into this town, somebody shoots you with a poisoned arrow. It kills you, and you survive somehow.
Yeah. Well, so in this world, and this is a big thing in the first game. In this world, everybody is reincarnated constantly. The wheel of fate turns, your soul goes with it, and you are reincarnated as someone or something else.
They talk about it a lot in the game.
Yeah, it's a it's a concept that everybody's familiar with in the world. It's not a secret. So when you get killed, theoretically, your soul should go back and then go, turn on the wheel and reincarnated.
Yeah.
But this thing, this voice in your head, whatever this thing is, just seems to be some kind of imprisoned or sealed
deity or something.
Basically says, I'm not done with you yet, and brings you back to life. You have to figure out who brewed the poison, where'd they get the poison, who did that, what's that from? I wonder if I'd played that cooler, if this would have worked out a little smoother, but whatever, that's what we are. I
mean, that's what really kind of sets this game apart, the dialogue choices that play into your RPG stats and things like that.
They'll let you hang yourself.
They will,
you can mess stuff up, and you can alienate people, and you can ruin things, and the game remembers.
No, it does, yeah.
Obsidian's always very good at that. The game remembers who you are. Obsidian tends to avoid the companion character that BioWare always puts in, who's just shocked by any kind of aberrant behavior, and it's just do you know where we are?
Yeah.
Do you realize that we are in what many cultures would consider to be hell?
Yeah.
And I just lied to a demon, and you are giving me shit for that.
That's great.
I'm going to leave you on the ship next time.
One I would say, though, I feel like the character is well developed.
Yeah.
But I also felt like I had agency over the character at the same time.
Yeah, it's a very delicate balance, and I think they strike it pretty well. They've done that with the other games.
They're really good at
it. Pillars of Eternity, especially.
Sometimes there's too many conversation options, and a lot of that's driven by your stats and things like that.
There's stat options where it's if you have this many out of Resolve or whatever, you can pick that and that usually will end the conversation. I mean, it's not like BioWare games where it's you can go through every single option, and usually 3 out of the 5 are going to end that conversation. You just have to choose which thing you want to say most.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where I selected stuff and I thought it was going to do one thing, and it actually turned the conversation in another direction. But I also think that that's healthy in a game to have some of those moments.
That's also just, other people aren't always going to react to you the same way.
I generally enjoyed the plot in this. I didn't think it was amazing.
It's not, but it gets you there.
You meet enough interesting characters. I think your party is eclectic and different enough that you're getting different things from them.
At a certain point, I'm like, oh, right, there's no romances in this game. But I don't mind it without it. I
didn't really miss it.
No, because it usually feels awkward.
So I enjoyed the story in this. I don't think it's great. I'm thinking 7, something like that.
Yeah, it's just
I haven't finished the game yet, but I've played it about 20 hours. I think I have a pretty good handle on the plot at this point.
Yeah, it's solid. It's no KOTOR 2. It's no actually, I'd say it is about on par with New Vegas, but I think most people would rate New Vegas.
I think it's better than New Vegas. The pacing is better.
It's certainly more engaging than New Vegas, but most people, I think, would disagree with that for some reason. I've tried.
For whatever reason, people romanticize.
I have never gotten all the way through New Vegas. I know the Old World Blues and stuff. DLC is very highly regarded, and I did like that. But in general, the core game of New Vegas, I did not find very engaging.
Me too. I'm right there with you. Okay, let's move on to options, which is the game design, all the features in the game. When you open up the menus, all the stuff that's in there. We mentioned in the open that this game is not open world, but it might as well be. The worlds are so big. There is loading in between them, but not very often.
No, it's open world enough as anything.
Yeah. Character creator, I thought, was great. Because I'm recording myself when I do this stuff, it took me almost 20 minutes to create my character. That's usually a really good sign for the character creation tool. At a certain point, though, I noticed I was messing with the nose height and stuff, and I was like, I gotta call it. That's it.
It's a first-person game. I'm never gonna see
this is my character, and but you do see him in cutscenes a lot.
Yeah, I didn't remove my godlike features, but I did minimize.
I turned mine off. Actually,
she's just got the mushroom gills on her cheeks.
Yeah.
But you can have you can basically have your face covered by fungus growth.
Yeah, I'm cool. Crazy. I'm good on that one. So you go through these mostly open worlds, and there's tons of fast travel points and things like that you can unlock. And eventually you get to these places where there's these big stone monoliths where you can set up camp, basically.
Which is exactly as it was in the previous 2 games. Like
I didn't know that, actually.
You camped out at places. I mean, it wasn't like a wander around open world, but like camp was where stuff happened and leveling up happened. It was a very similar system.
There have been times I've been very happy to find the campsite.
Oh yeah. Like sometimes you're looking like you see one of those big rocks and you're like, oh, I gotta get to that fucking Artipillar. Let's go.
And you get there, you can sleep, obviously, and heal, but you can also buff your weapons, improve your weapons. You can craft entirely new things there, well, stuff that you're collecting. You can enchant weapons. There's a little station to do that. But I think more importantly, and maybe kind of going back to the story section, is this is where you get a chance to talk to your party members. Holy moly. The writing and the voiceover that they've recorded for this stuff, it's crazy how much there is. And you really get to know them there. That's where you kind of have the heart-to-hearts with your party members. I think that's really effective. But that's kind of like your pivot point. You stop there. And I think it's also cool how you can fast travel like to one of those places. And after you get there, it'll ask you if you want to go back to where you came from if you want to. Right. Which is cool. Like, you don't see that in a lot of games. A little nice touch, I thought.
Yeah. It's also where you can cook.
Right, yeah, you can cook there, and I mean, it's just kind of like your safety spot, basically, where you can kind of regroup, figure out what you're going to do going forward. As far as, like, your stats and things like that, you have abilities, you have your character screen, you have your inventory screen, a journal screen, and then your map screen. The map in this is pretty great. Yeah. Coming off of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, this map is a godsend compared to the map in that game. It's very easy to follow. It zooms in plenty. You can easily spot all your fast travel points on it. I thought the map was great, and it actually really helps. We'll talk a little bit later about progression and how I kind of jimmied like the fast travel points a little bit to help me get through some tough parts of the game. But there's lots of them there. And then sort of the sub-menu there for your abilities, you have like the fighter, the ranger, the wizard, godlike, and companions abilities that you can level up. The first 3 for fighter, ranger, and wizard, you're just basically giving them better abilities to fight or cast magic or something like that.
And it's interesting because not all the abilities are limited to, like, there's some abilities the ranger has that you are going to want as a wizard.
Oh yeah.
And some wizard abilities that you are going to want as a fighter. Like,
and we should have said you can do whatever the hell you want.
There is no limitation to what you can use. Every weapon from the beginning. You are not limited by anything. You're obviously going to be more effective in the things you're taking more skills in. I've taken a lot more skills in wizard than I'm mostly pure wizard, but I've certainly taken the parry abilities in the ranger tree, which you're going to need for fighting, for fighter. Yep. I've taken one of the health boosts from the fighter tree. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
And again, to your point, like, doesn't matter what your character is, what class they are, you can just use whatever you want.
And the ranger has dodge upgrades, which I think are useful for every class. Yeah. It takes less stamina to dodge from that. So yeah, there's a lot to do, and then you can upgrade your individual stats, resolve, strength, and those are, they give you bonuses for tons of stuff. Dexterity, move faster and attack faster. That's what you want. But then that's also stuff, those are the stats they use in conversations.
Yes, might, constitution, dexterity, perception, intellect, and resolve. Yeah. Resolve, and those all tie into your dialogue trees.
And resolve was a dump stat in the other games.
Oh, really?
It was kind of the stat you didn't need to really worry about too much.
Interesting.
In this one, it's much more important.
Yeah. You don't get a lot of new weapons in this.
No, you're mostly upgrading ones you have that you like.
Yeah.
And the like.
You don't get new anything in this, really.
Not too much.
It takes a long time.
And like you're gonna hunt for, you're gonna be picking up everything you can find in terms of. One thing I will say that I love about this game, there is a weight limit to what you can carry. The only things that weigh anything are armor and weapons.
I've never hit it.
That's it. I have.
Have you?
Because I pick everything up. Crafting material, they're all weightless. None of that, all of that is free to carry, and I'm like, perfect. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you.
And then as far as your equipment, you have your armor, you have your gloves, boots, 2 accessories, and your weapons, and that's pretty much it.
You basically upgrade each weapon up 3 times, and then you can upgrade it to the next rarity level.
Right. And there's 4 of those?
4 rarity levels. Yeah. And basically, if you run into an enemy that is of the rarity level above yours, they are going to take 35% less damage from your weapon if it's lower, and you will take 35% more damage from them if your armor is lower.
And you feel it. Generally, though, I feel like this is kind of a more streamlined version. Having come off just playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I find this game elegant.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
I think it has found the happy medium where it should be. It's not too much, but it's just enough to where you feel like you have agency over your characters and your parties.
I think it's very much so, and that's the other thing. Is like it's so easy to keep playing.
It is
it's so I've been up till 5 in the morning playing this multiple times and not realizing it.
Yeah,
like I just sat down to play it at like 8.
And next thing you know,
all of a sudden it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, and
I'm
like, I'm
what
hungry.
The hell happened? Like, why am I so hungry and tired? Like,
I think they've found like the happy medium for this. I would love to see a lot more action RPGs handle options like this game does.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like an 8.
Yeah, definitely way up there. Like it's a very exciting. I think it's a very exciting release for Obsidian.
I agree
because it feels like this is never going to be redundant with what Bethesda makes.
No, definitely not. And I think you're right. It was important for them to do that because now they're on the same squad. They need to find their own angle.
You want to step on each other.
Yeah.
But it's like there's no way that I'm going to want to play Avowed or Skyrim.
Right.
I'm going to want to play one or the other.
Yeah. But I want to play both.
Right. But
for
it's like
different reasons.
But whatever I'm in the mood for, it's not going to be a picking between those two games. It's because Avowed is totally different from what Skyrim is.
Right. Yeah. You're not splitting hairs, choosing between the two. Yep. So that's an 8 for options. Okay, let's move on to interaction, gameplay, what you're actually doing while you're playing the game. The first thing I'm going to say about this game is there is a lot of combat.
Yes.
These lands are scattered with enemies, and they are looking for a fight.
They're all mad.
They are looking for a fight. Like, if you get within, like, 50 or 60 yards of them, they're going to see you, and they're going to come running, and they're going to attack you. And the other thing about this game is that you can get in over your head very easily. Like, it's no problem to just walk the wrong direction and get too close to a group of enemies that are way OP for you, and they come over and just wipe your ass out, and you're like, damn, I guess I gotta run around that next time.
You have skills that can boost your health and mana when you revive your companions.
Yeah, if you let your companions die.
Dwarf, go die. I gotta wake you up so I can get my life back.
I've died because I've just got lazy. Yeah. It's like I was down and I was brought back up, and I'm like, I could probably still finish him off. Oh, I didn't. So you can play this game in first person or third person. I play in first.
I looked at third person once and I never went back again.
Yeah. So I told you I was using a spear, and it is uncanny how accurate that freaking spear is. I can be strafing around people and just bam, 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 right on their freaking forehead, and it matters. Like, you can see, like, if you target it well, it takes off way more health than if you're just hitting them, like, in their shoulder or whatever, and it really feels good, like, strafing around somebody and just poking them right in the forehead with your spear, like... this may be the best first-person combat I've ever experienced.
It's way up there.
I struggle to think of better. You are constantly using either potions or mana potions. Like, you're always going to the menu. So you hit the LB button to go to the menu, and that radio menu has so much stuff. Like, it can instruct your companions to cast spells. You can cast spells from that menu. All their special abilities are all there, depending on the companion. You can use your health there. You can take your potions there. And, like, at first, I was, like, trying to do a lot of stuff on the fly, because you can set stuff up to the D-pad to, like, up is for health, down is for mana, right is for a companion attack, left is for your magic attack, whatever. You can set whatever you want up there.
That's what I have is I have a health, mana, the Kai's set you on fire and taunt you thing. That's my get out of jail skill. And then the other one is the magic missile thing, which only works about half the time because those things say they're homing, but mostly they just hit the nearest rock. Yeah,
it's hard to aim them too, because if you're using the D-pad, it's like you take your thumb off the stick to use the D-pad, and it like the enemy's gonna move or your cursor's gonna move. Like, it's very inelegant. So what I found is, like, you just gotta use LB. I just hit the button, bring up the circular menu, and that way I have time to, like, select what I want to use. And I think that's the way you're supposed to do it.
I mean, that's more or less how it worked in the Infinity Engine style games.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
I don't really use it that way because the grimoires give me 4 spells to work with, plus my wand, which is more than enough to get through just about anything.
It can be helpful with mini bosses.
The primary use of the LB menu for me is using the companion ability to get rid of, like, thorns and stuff. Because in the world, they have abilities that get rid of obstacles in the environment.
The fire will burn down cobwebs, so you can get through doors that are blocked. You can use your ice magic to create platforms on lakes, so you can walk across water.
You get a whole bunch of different grenade types.
Yeah.
And those work for that too.
They're also very effective. Those are on RB.
Yeah.
And those are the grenades are powerful. Controlling party members on the fly, it's like, so if you try to do it and don't go to that LB menu, it's also like you're trying to get the reticle on and tap the D-pad like while it's on the enemy. Like, I just prefer to go to LB and just pause, because it also pauses the game. And it's like, it's not even like running at all. Like, it completely pauses the game.
Yeah, it's basically real time with pause at that point.
Yeah. So that's what I tend to do.
It's a nice little kind of connective tissue to what the games before it were.
Yep. The weapons have unlimited ammo. You get guns in this, by the way, which is crazy for a game like this that there are guns.
Well, yeah, it's always been a little kind of gunpowder. I mean, the second game is pirates. Your limitation is your stamina.
And in this game, I definitely found myself running out of stamina.
Oh, yeah.
Not constantly, but pretty frequently.
You gotta balance it. And it regenerates pretty fast, but like if you're not careful, you run out of stamina. That extra like second of wait before it recharges can get you killed. And there's stealth kills too. Like there's
stealth only works until the first attack, though.
Yeah, but like
once you do it once, it's just
But every once in a while you can get the most dangerous guy out first, and it's like, that feels pretty good.
Makes a difference, for sure. And they are pretty much instant kills when you
usually instant kills, and usually one of your companions will be like, it's like, oh god, I'm not gonna get on your bad side. I'm like, not to the point that I'd sneak up on you when you were asleep and stab you. Yeah, like most people don't get on that bad side. Yeah.
But generally, I thought the gameplay in this was excellent. Yeah. Like I said, it's probably the best first-person combat I've ever played in an RPG.
I was really
Those are
surprised.
big words.
Yeah. I really didn't think it was going to be as fluid and...
I thought I was going to switch to third person.
Fluid and crunchy as it was.
It feels damn good, man. All of it. Blocking feels great, and you do get, like, if you time it right, you get parries and all that. Like, I thought the first-person combat in this was great. I'm saying like an 8.
Yeah.
Another 8.
I'd say 8 or 9 for it. I really like it.
All right, let's move on to graphics, Matt. And I have to admit, I'm a little torn on this one because I feel like this game at one moment is like awe-inspiring, and at the next moment, it's like ugly and garish. The colors always pop. Like HDR does a lot for this game, but like I think maybe part of it is just like everything's covered in like fungus and mushrooms. It's just kind of like parts of the game are ugly, parts of it are beautiful. I don't know. Again, I'm struggling to kind of figure out where I fall on the visuals in this game.
I think they're very good.
Yeah?
Like, I think the animation's great.
Enemies are repetitive. Like, it's like, now here's the dude with a mask on. Now here's the dude with, like, a shoulder pad on. Like...
Yeah, but I don't know. I haven't
lots of bears.
A lot of bears. All the bears look the same. No variety in the bear fur.
There are moments where I'm like, wow, that's amazing. You see the vista. Then there's other times where it's just like, here's this weird-looking mushroom thing hopping at me with, like, these weird, like, orange and brown spots all over. And it just... Sometimes to me, the game just looks kind of ugly. It runs well at all times. Like, I've never seen it bogged down or anything.
No, it runs very well. I would never call it ugly.
Really?
No.
There's a couple times in this where I'm like, ugh.
No, it's real crisp.
I mean, it looks crisp, but I just don't like the enemy design, the colors that they choose.
I mean, I don't think you're supposed to like the fungus monster.
Yeah. Technically, the game looks fine. Like, the textures are crisp and it runs well. I'm just saying, just looking at it, I'm like, ew, sometimes. Like, I just don't find it visually appealing at times.
I don't feel that. I mean, obviously, you're not supposed to, like, want a stuffed version of the mushroom or anything. It's not my favorite character or anything. Really.
No, I finally have a Christmas gift idea for you. And there's not like gigantic, all that often anyway, like big gigantic bosses to fight. Like,
no, there's just like tough things.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, this guy has a lot of health,
right?
And that's kind of it. And they do count as bosses, but like, you know, like the big ogre that controls that one part of town and stuff. But like,
hey, you played this on PC, right?
Yeah,
and I played it on Xbox Series X. On Xbox Series X, some of the character details pop in, kind of like how they were, and I was talking about Lost Records. That happens.
Yeah.
That happens to me a little bit in this game as well. Did that happen to you on PC?
No.
Interesting. Yeah, and I saw LOD issues as well if I'm running really fast. Like, I can see like one layer of the plants like kind of drawn in a little bit.
No,
but
it hasn't done anything like that. I'm running it at max ultra 4K, and I don't even need the frame generation. It's running at a solid 60 with no. Yeah,
this engine's pretty solid, man.
Very good.
It runs really well on Xbox Series X. Too.
Runs very, very well.
Yeah. 6 or 7 for graphics.
Oh, I'd go higher than that.
Really?
I go 8.
Really?
Yeah. I really like the design of everything.
I think we'll have to meet in the middle on that one at a 7.
All right.
I don't think I can do an 8 for graphics. Okay, let's move on to sound.
I've come in search of lost treasures. Have you heard any rumors of such things in the area?
I suppose so, actually. There are some Peruvian ruins to the north, just across the river from the Strand. up. Is that all you got? Let's see what's left.
See. As I always say, I always play these games for at least an hour with the music turned down. I go out to my living room and turn everything up and enjoy it that way. The audio in this game is incredible. The ambient sound, just amazing. Like last night, I played it for the first time with headphones on. It literally just sucks you right into the world, man. It is just incredible, the audio in this game. Music, not a big fan of the music in the game, though. I mean, obviously that's subjective. People like some genres. I mean, I don't like country music. Some people do.
I can't think of a song from this right now. So
is that good or bad?
I mean, it's inoffensive, I guess I would say.
I mean, most of it generally
entirely fine.
They're beds, yeah, with just like tribal drums or whatever.
Yeah.
But like when I was playing it last night with the headphones on, I could hear the music a lot more clearly. There's definitely a couple songs where I was like, yeah, I probably wouldn't play that one on Spotify. But the rest of the audio is absolutely incredible. Voice acting is great, and there are so many characters in this, like even the smallest bit characters. There is one moment too in this game where I was retreating and running away, like I was going to run away and use health or whatever, and I heard somebody shoot an arrow at me, and I heard it coming over my right freaking shoulder, and I dodged it from the surround sound. And I was like, hot damn. The ambient sound, the directional sound, Foley work, voice work, amazing.
Yeah, it all feels all the magic has really great chunky sounds.
Really do. Nice thud, subwoofer hits. Yeah, it's the audio design in this is incredible.
Even just the basic wand attack has really good.
It really does. Yep, everything's got like a little bit of a punch to it. So great audio, in my opinion, an 8.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, next up is progression, saving, fast travel points, difficulty, choke points, points where the game gets too difficult. I had kind of hinted earlier about a situation where I was kind of cheesing the fast travel points. And there was one part in the game where I came upon this group of enemies. I fought them. They killed me, just wiped me out like twice in a row. I'm like, okay, obviously I'm not supposed to fight them yet. But I could see that there was a fast travel point waiting to be unlocked like 100 yards past them.
Oh, yeah.
So I snuck around them, got to the fast travel point, enacted it, and then I'm good to go. Because then I can come back there anytime I want. So I activated the point, went somewhere else, accomplished a couple other missions, fast traveled back to that point, 50 feet away, there's those enemies with that chest, went in, wiped them out, got the chest. Like, even though there are choke points difficulty-wise, the game gives you enough ways to kind of work around it and still make kind of adventuring across the entire map feasible regardless of where you are level-wise. So I thought that was pretty clever, like the way that they've set it up, so you can kind of...
I mean, that's pretty standard for open world games at this point.
Well, I think it depends on how frequently the fast travel points are placed and where the fast travel points are placed.
Well, one of my favorite things to do in open world games is like, I'm going to go in this area I'm not supposed to be in yet, and I'm going to until I find a fast travel point, and then I'm going to like so I know I can get, or I've wandered into this area, I clearly shouldn't be here, but I'm going to find a fast travel point so I don't need to walk all the way back here again. I mean, that's also just sort of like MMO standard.
I did that in Echoes of Wisdom. I just went around and just activated
Echoes
all
of Wisdom's a good thing of that. Yeah, a good example of that.
I did the same thing there.
I mean, I don't fast travel a ton because I'm always picking up more crafting elements everywhere because I'm just like, I never know we're going to need more wood. You know, it's like, but yeah, you can, if you just want to pop around the map, you never really have to run back and forth ever again once you unlock that first. And they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
They are.
So like, very generous about that.
Yeah, we talked earlier about...
It's also very generous about autosaving.
Yeah, it is.
Keeps like 10 autosaves. And like, there's very few situations where if you make a decision you don't like, or you did something wrong, or whatever, you want to undo something, you can go back to the like any time in the last like 5 minutes, really.
Another way it's different from Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
There's no scaling enemies. We mentioned that earlier. Like, they are what they are. Either you can fight them or you can't.
They're all color coded, and then they have skulls next to them to indicate what level of that color they are. So you'll always know what you're getting into. And even your companions will be like, that weapon's not going to work against that guy.
No, you're right. They'll tell you, like, just get out of here. Like, this is pointless. Yeah. And another way that the audio is great.
And I'm like, it may cost your lives, but that's a sacrifice
that's what we're doing.
I'm willing to make. I want that guy's hat.
Yep. Upgrading gear, pretty frequent. Every time you level up, basically you get a couple points. Usually you get like a point for your companions and a point for you.
Yeah, you get an ability point. You get usually a stat point. I think one level I didn't get a stat point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know if I remember that happening to me or not. It's very smart how they've designed the game. So you can still figure out a way to like adventure through these lands without having to risk dying. Not that dying really hurts you all that much in this game either. And you never hardly ever get new gear, new weapons, new armor. And so upgrading is essential.
Yeah.
Like you need to upgrade.
Yeah, your main thing is like you'll find stuff. I found some stuff is usually like the same, like a higher tier level of what you already have,
And usually I've already leveled it up. The one I have, so it's actually still more powerful than the new one that I got.
Or unique,
right?
Which is pretty. Actually, the thing I found that like most often are rings. Like finding new rings is way more common than finding new weapons or armor.
Yeah.
One of the really cool things about in this is if you're a wizard and you have a grimoire equipped, you can cast all the spells in that grimoire even if you don't have them in your skill tree. And then if you put a point in a skill tree, you then cast that spell out of the grimoire at one level higher than what you have the skill at.
Yeah.
So you can like basically supercharge your spells that you really like by putting skill points in them, but it's a good way to go up the rest of the skill tree, and anytime you need that spell, you just use a grimoire. So I bought all the exquisite versions of those grimoires of everything I needed, and now I can cast just about anything as long as I equip it. And like it makes the magic class feel way more versatile.
So progression, it feels by the numbers progression wise for the most part. It doesn't really do anything too unique other than kind of intelligently placing those fast travel points.
But like I feel like it's very tangible that you're getting more powerful as you go. And as you
feel it.
If you end up like fighting like kind of older enemies, you're like, oh wow, like I have.
Ting, you're dead.
Bang, go out and play. Like,
no, you're right. So I'm thinking progression a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, I guess 7.
Yeah.
I would maybe go 8 if the upgrade system wasn't quite so tedious. Like there are points where I've had to kind of stop playing the rest of the game to like concentrate on being able to upgrade my weapon so it could effectively hurt. That's what I did. I upgrade the weapon first because I'm like, yeah, I'm getting hurt more, but ideally I'm not going to be hit because I'm going to be a dodgy moron. You know? And so like there have been times when I kind of had to stop at all the other progression to kind of be like, I got to upgrade this fucking wand or I'm just not going to be able to get through this section.
The skill trees also are a little like redundant, like
a little bit. I feel like I wish I got maybe 2 skill points per level because it feels like I'm never going to get there.
It does. Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with
it is a big game.
I'm happy with my skills at this point, but I'm hitting a point where I'm like level 21 or 22 and I'm like, what's the level cap on this? I'm getting to the point where I'm going to start wanting to plan out, and you can respec for like a pretty small amount of money whenever you want. But I'm just like, I would like to know how many more points I have so I can plan out where I want to go for the rest of this. Because there's a couple ranger skills I'd like, but maybe I don't need them if I'd rather go all the way down to the bottom of the wizard tree.
Yeah.
But also I'm on PC and there's mods for that. So if I want to really want to break that, I can.
Yeah.
You should see how many perk points I give myself when I play New Vegas.
Okay, next up is value. I've played about 20 hours of this game. I am nowhere near the end. It's blatantly obvious. You can see from all the skill trees and all the other stuff that I'm maybe halfway through the game.
Yeah, I played about 40 hours and I'm in the 3rd area.
Wow. So what are you thinking for length on this game then? 60 hours?
It's probably going to take me close to 100, I think. Because you know me, I do all
I know
this
how you
stuff.
play. Yeah. It seems like it's about a 50-hour game if you just go basically mainline it.
I think beeline would be 40 to 50.
Yeah.
But again, beelining would be kind of hard because at some point, at the very least, you'd have to buy new equipment to make it through certain area. Because the second area jumps you from level 2 to level 3 enemies. Like tier 3 enemies real quick.
It does.
Like they mix and match them really early. Like I'm sure, like you said, you can run through those areas and kind of fast travel your way through things and get around stuff, and you can outrun most stuff.
Not all though.
Not all of it, but you can get away with a lot. And so you could do that, I guess.
So we're looking at a 50 to 100-hour game. Also, if you decide to play it a different way, it is like an entirely different game.
Yeah, I would say
you and I are playing completely different ways.
I would say if I played this again and focused on melee, like it would be a totally different experience.
Yeah. So I'm thinking value an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 100 hours for $70.
Yeah.
That's a good deal. Okay, we've tallied up all the scores, and ultimately the average works out to a 7.6. We always like to say that, our averages aren't a big deal. They're just a frame of reference. We would never contribute to Metacritic with that score or anything like that. It's just a frame of reference. I will say, though, this is the highest average we've ever had in one of our live reviews. And I think deservedly...
Out of what, 3?
But still, and I think deservedly so. I think this is the best game of the 3 that we've done live reviews for.
I am really surprised at the reviews this got.
I don't understand it.
Like the 7s and
I don't understand it.
I don't know.
What did these people want?
I don't know. I guess Skyrim again?
I mean, it's pretty close.
Like, it's not.
Which do you like better? Do you like Skyrim or this game better? Like, with playing now, which isn't fair to Skyrim.
I mean, it's hard to say because I played Skyrim 4 times.
Right.
You know, like, I think Skyrim does a better job of being kind of a big, sprawling epic. Avowed feels tighter and more curated, and the combat is just way better, certainly without mods. So it's hard to say. Like, I think they are very different approaches. Like Avowed is a little more immediate, a little more self-contained, a little more boots on the ground, I guess is a weird way to put it. But whereas Skyrim feels very lofty.
Yeah. My big delineator is just the combat is so much better in Avowed.
Yeah.
And there's so much of it in Avowed. Like, if it had Skyrim's combat, I never would have made it as far as I have already.
And also, if you want to talk about enemy variety, like, it's not like you're not fighting the same things over and over in Avowed, but at least I'm not fighting 4,000 Draugrs.
You're right. Yeah. Microsoft has to be very happy because now they have Bethesda and Obsidian taking turns releasing these types of games.
Yes, like even if Avowed 2 or Pillars of Eternity 4, whatever the hell you want to call it, comes out like 6 months before Elder Scrolls 6, I am not going to feel like that is redundant.
Yeah.
Because this is such a different approach to the action RPG than what Bethesda does.
Yep.
And I think that's a very, very good thing for both of them.
Yeah. So there you go. That's 2 enthusiastic thumbs up for Avowed. Keep in mind, this game is also available on Game Pass. You could pay $20 for a month of Game Pass and play this game for $20, which sends its value skyrocketing. We're going to review these games as if you're paying money for them. Even if I had to pay $70 for Avowed, I would be totally cool with it.
Yeah, and I did.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. That's Avowed, our live review.